Jesus used to say. Is that how you say it? Well, he used to say that the truth shall set you free. I tell you the truth. I think he started basically every sentence with I tell you the truth, at least according to the Bible. It's like every sentence begins with I tell you the truth. So he's setting himself and everybody free at every moment, basically. he's, yeah, because he's telling the truth all the time. So he's setting everything free all the time. I think that's, yeah, something to be thankful for. He also says that famously, or this is from the Gospel of Thomas, but if you bring forth that which is within you, what you bring forth will save you. And if you do not bring forth that which is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. Which is also, yeah, I think a lot of things he said is in line, is in similar vein, similar, yeah, whatever. I really like that. I like the fact that he's saying that. He's saying that if you bring forth that which is within you, if you bring forth which is true within you, I don't think it means if you bring forth a lie within you. It means that if you bring forth that which is within you, like, yeah, your authentic being, something like that, something that is within you, and yeah, that will save you. It will set you and people around you free. Doesn't necessarily mean that it will be nice or pleasant, though. That's a whole other how do you say? That's a whole other debacle, because it's actually the opposite. I think in many ways the reason why we don't speak the truth is because we are avoiding pain. We're trying to avoid pain, which we are successful with in not speaking the truth. Lying does help us at avoiding pain, at least for the time being. It doesn't help us in the long term, but it definitely helps us in the moment. So being in denial, lying, being deceitful gets us opportunities, helps us get around these white lies, maybe, and also just, yeah, it's helpful, basically. And we are avoiding taking accountability, responsibility. We're avoiding all kinds of things. And we're especially avoiding feeling shame, feeling, yeah, bad, basically. And having other people be mad at us or disappointed or all those things. So we are habitually, as human beings, avoiding those kinds of things. Or basically avoiding feeling bad through lying. That is a basic common trait. I just saw a video on Pierce Pierce Brosnan, no, Pierce Morgan. He was interviewing a guy who, a young guy, I think it was only 21 years of age. He had previously spoken about Biden, and he said that, yeah, I'm positive Biden will win. And then Pierce Morgan had asked him, okay, are you willing to bet on it? And the guy said, yeah, no, I'm not. I don't bet on politics. And this is not a right or left thing at all. This is, it always is to a certain extent, because it usually is about someone from one of the fractions will be disappointed. But yeah, so Pierce asked him, now when we know that Biden is not going to run even, so he's definitely not going to win. So Pierce asked this young gentleman about that, and he said, Pierce said, you were wrong, right? Are you willing to admit that you were wrong? And he said, yeah, I was wrong. I was going by the data, and the data at the time said that, and what people said, that he was going to run. He said he was fine. I spoke to him, and he was doing well, and all those things. And Pierce said, like, but there were basically among the general population, I would say this isn't Pierce's words now, but the general population said that he's unable, basically, because of his cognitive decline. He's just mumbling, can't even move around correctly, which is, of course, sad to see. But we also have to be honest. We need to speak the truth about that. So in seeing that, we should make the inference or judgment, or and say that doesn't look any good. That doesn't look good. He seems like he's really off. He doesn't seem cognitively there. He shouldn't be running, basically. But this guy, who is invested, I guess you could say, he's invested with the Democratic Party. He's invested in that type of politic, the left, the left. So he's not admitting it. He's not telling the truth. He keeps lying to himself and to others. And that's almost as sad to see as seeing Biden up there not being able to string words together that makes sense. It's lies upon lies upon lies. It's really the emperor's new clothes in such a succinct way, or concise way. And I think it's, I don't know. I was going to say, it's a bit like seeing, I don't want to go. It's so hard to speak about this left and right wing politics. I wanted to make an argument on the other side, basically saying, that just as it's pretty obvious that Trump is pretty volatile. He has a track record of making volatile decisions. We can see that from The Apprentice and the way he speaks. He just in a positive way, for some people at least, he speaks its mind, and he's entertaining, and he's saying things that politicians normally don't say, which is really entertaining and fun. And it's he has no filter, basically. On the other hand, if you had an organization, you were running an organization, or you had a company, you wouldn't necessarily want to have someone like that running it. Because the person would make a lot of weird decisions, like he showed that they did during The Apprentice. Of course, that's a TV show, but I think there's enough data to support that he's making kind of weird decisions a lot of the time. Anyway, you may agree or not agree. That was just making, so there are points. It's just a point that we can point to where the Republican people are in the same kind of denial, because you are basically, there's the emperor's new clothes from that perspective too. So no one, I think it was Rick Rubin who had this video where he looked at Piers Morgan and made comments about it. But he never makes videos criticizing Trump, which he could do. And if Trump were Yeah, so it's not about truth. I think that's the point. Jesus says that truth sets us free. So a lot of people have truth in what they're saying. So we're seeing that people are calling out the emperor's new clothes with Biden. He's obviously not fit for running, and that's true. I would say I think most people would agree with that, apart from some people within the Democratic Party, who are in denial. I don't know if there are some people actually believing in it. I think sometimes you can even trick yourself into believing things like that. It's really weird how the human mind works. So that is possible to do. But yeah, the same is true for people within the Republican Party. They just well, there's something called like confirmation bias, which is just rampant within the human psychology and the human species. Which, yeah, according to the article, or it's a really cited article or research paper from Mercier and Sperber called "Arguments for an Argumentative Theory." Or the title is actually "Why Humans Reason." So we reason about things. We can make the argument that, yeah, you look at Biden, he's not making any sense. He can't string words together. The Democrats are in denial, and so on, which is true. I would say I'm making arguments just like anybody else. I'm not as heavily invested in it though, because I don't really have any. I don't care too much. But the point being is that the bug that we could think of it as the confirmation bias, that we just see things like, and I'm a Republican, so I see all the problem with Biden, but I don't see the problem with Trump being volatile, or the history he has had as a businessman, and yeah, all the lies. That's also one of the things. He has been lying quite a lot. He will say, he says, he's also always so hyperbolic. It tends to be, at least. And he says, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to go there and do this. And I'll fix this. I'll build the wall and those kinds of things. And most of the things are just lies, or turn out to be, at least. And yeah, Rick Rubin will never make a video of all the lies that Donald Trump has made, because it's not about truth. It's about winning. It's being and it's the confirmation bias. I mean, to some extent, I think Hassan Piker, who is also a political commentator, he says that he isn't interested, or I mean, he's interested in truth to some extent, but he is a, what do you call it? Yeah, when you're basically trying to influence things in a certain way. So he has an agenda in a way, and he is open with that, as far as I think I've spoken to it, to that to some extent, at least. And I kind of like that. I think that's a good way to do it, because it's more honest to say that I'm actually not, in essence, about truth. I am, in essence, about getting a message across. And I would say that, yeah, at the core of it, there are values which are really underlying what we see here. And the values doesn't change depending on what the facts are or what data is. So for Rick Rubin, his values won't change. So, and it is the values that are making him make videos about how Biden is bad and Trump is good. And it is the values that are making Hassan Piker making the videos about how Trump is bad. And yeah, I don't think it doesn't seem to be like Biden either. But yeah, maybe Bernie Sanders or someone else who's more in line with his values and ways of thinking. So why are we even speaking about these things? I think it's an interesting conundrum. What is truth even? What is it that will set us free? When are we lying? The cognitive bias, the confirmation bias, as they say in the paper, it's not it's not a bug. That's what they say. So not a bug in the system. You know, it's like we would think that it's a problem within the human psyche, and it of course, can create problems. But the way humans are designed, so to speak, is to be argumentative and be good at making arguments. They are not the reasoning. The reasoning in the article is that human reasoning evolved, psychologically evolved through evolution to make us great at making arguments. That to already held beliefs, basically, or already held values, and winning arguments, not about finding truth. So for the 21-year-old in Piers Morgan, who was at that show, even though he looks stupid in a way, I think, to be sitting there and still pretending like he's not, like he's actually thinking that Biden looks fine, even though no one else is thinking or is seeing that. Everyone else is seeing the opposite. He's just so invested in that because it's his team and it's his guy. And so that looks like a bug when is within his mind or within that type of thinking. Just the same as Rick Rubin never makes videos that are, showing the bad sides of Republican policy making, for example, or Republican people. I guess you could find something somewhere, but not in general. Even though there are stuff. And on the opposite side, with Hassan Piker or some other commentator on the left side, we don't see the opposite. Yeah, that's just the point. We're not here to find truth. The human psyche is geared towards untruth, basically. Yet Jesus says that we find the truth sets us free. So politics isn't an avenue of becoming free, it seems. I guess that's one a lesson to learn from this, to take home, a take-home message. And that's one of the reasons why I don't enjoy it, apart from looking at it from the outside. I find it interesting, but having a team and kind of arguing for stuff, it is not about finding truth, which is my interest. Finding truth, love, honesty, those kinds of things. Yet it is truth, I guess, to some extent, if we'll see at it in terms of values. It's just that we're not talking about it in that way. We're speaking at another level. We're speaking about facts, but not the underlying values that are pushing us to look at the facts in certain ways. What would happen if we were just speaking about, basically just saying, it's almost like taste, like Jonathan Haidt, the I think somewhat famous psychologist. He speaks about morals as moral intentions. So values is another way of speaking about morals, I think you could say. So he says that moral intuitions are, basically our values or moral intuitions. It is they who are guiding our reasoning, basically. So we already have an intuition. So we think our intuition is that, Trump is a good guy and he espouses our values. And so we're going to root for him and we're going to find everything he says good, and everything his his opposition says bad, and opposite for the other party. So there's really no facts that can change anything. There's really no reasoning, no arguments that can change anything. And that's also what we see, of course, in every time there's we have what do you call it? When we choose the new an election, every time there's a new election, there are only about, what is it, like 5-10% that are sort of undecided. But it's not like someone is able to, from one election to the other, just convince an entire population with facts that this is the way to go. And that is, again, because it is not about those things. It's not about what is true or. And I mean, yeah, I guess that's the thing. That's my point with intuition or taste, as Jonathan Haidt says. It's about taste. So we like chocolate. And someone telling us that, yeah, chocolate is not good. The taste of chocolate isn't good. And vanilla is better. Another person says, no, vanilla is bad. Chocolate is good because of, yeah, chocolate is dark. It has this more full flavor, and it's more healthy because it has flavonols in it, and, whatever argument you can make. And yeah. But it would be, yeah, we would find it kind of bewildering or meaningless to be arguing about taste, because taste is subjective and obviously not something you can convince someone else to change, right? So why do we debate these things? I'm not sure. And is it making a difference? I would be interesting. I guess it is to some extent for people who are sort of undecided, and yeah, really would be really interesting to look at the paper if it's even possible to quantify the extent to which having arguments or all these debates, because it's a lot of time and money and energy invested into them. Maybe we could skip them, most of it, and do something more meaningful with our lives instead. I don't know. How would we be able to quantify the degree to which these different debates have an effect or on people's actual thinking or reasoning or changing their mind? It's close to zero, I think. Could it be 5%? Maybe. Yeah, maybe it is the way to go. Maybe it's still. I don't think it's worth it though. I just feel like it's such a waste of time and energy and money, and raising all this money to go around having these debates about taste, basically. What is the purpose of that? Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so I got a bit off topic maybe, but what would another way of going about it be? I would say it is to be honest, but that doesn't work within the psychology or in the political sphere, basically, because you're already chosen teams. You can't change your mind. That's the problem. That's one of the problems, I think, a big one. You can't. I remember the Anchorman, when Steve Carell is standing on one side with, there are like two teams. He's standing there with, the Anchorman and his team, and all of a sudden and they are like quarreling with some other people there, and all of a sudden, Steve Carell, who is kind of stupid, he's standing on the other side with other people, and his group is kind of, what are you doing there? Why are you standing with them? And I think he just made I don't know how he ended up there. But in a way, even though he's stupid and for all of a sudden just switching teams, I think that's a really healthy way of looking at it, or doing things. In theory, meaning that if you're debating something and you're listening to someone and you're able to actually change your mind about something, and the person you're speaking to maybe is also able to change their mind about something. Yeah, what else would the yeah, I think that's the way to go, to change your mind, to be open and listening to other people's opinions. But because if you're not able to change your mind about things, there's not any reason to speak about anything. Yeah. Okay. That was it